Hey, welcome to Living Plant-Based Across the Pond with Gareth and Jeanne. Let me introduce Gareth R. Davies. And Gareth helps people to reduce or eliminate their high blood pressure medications through his no meds method. And you can find out more on his Facebook group, Gareth R. Davies. And he's also helping people to do these free minute Zoom discovery calls, which is posted on his screen nicely and conveniently right now. So
great stuff. And
yeah.
Jeanne, let me introduce you as well. Founder of the Weight Loss Advantage, which is a program to help people lose weight without dieting. Changing their health destiny, we know that can be done. And you're also working on the pregnancy advantage for women to get their bodies pregnant ready.
Yes.
And you got it simplyplantbased.net.
I
And there's
do.
lots of resources, recipes, programs.
Corona, COVID-19. Okay, first of all, I'm sick of it. I don't know about you. I'm sick of it. I really am. And, the media, the news, it's just this non-endless cycle of it. And, here's my thoughts. Because there's people talking about conspiracy theory. Have you heard this?
I've seen headlines. I don't listen to, but I don't know. I have not got into any of it. Yeah.
Whatever you believe or not believe, here's my thoughts. We have a situation, and I can control what's going inside my home. I can't control what's going on outside. I can't. There's nothing I can do.
Sure.
But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my immune system. I'm going to ramp it up. Good food, exercise. We just bought this gazelle. It's called the Gazelle Strider, and it mimics cross-country skiing. Not that I'll ever be out and skiing. Not going to happen.
You could have come with me this morning, Jeanne. It was fantastic.
No. I like beaches with little drinks and umbrellas. Okay. Yeah. Go for it. So, I'm going to exercise, and I'm going to choose toxic-free personal and home care cleaning products. I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to get some good sleep. Every day, I'm going to do the best I can and make each day count. Eventually, this is going to die down. Just like it happened in 1918, it's going to resurface again. And I've been hearing about how we've had pandemics like in 1957, somewhere in there. There was a pretty bad one that we lost a lot of people, and another one a couple of decades later. So, it's going to die down eventually, okay? And life is going to go on. But in the meantime, Houston, we have a problem. So you have time now. Mother Nature has sent us to our room for a time out. Okay, so make each day count towards building it towards your health, because if you get it, then you'll have a better chance of surviving it. It's worth your health. It's so worth working for now more than ever. It's important to make every bite count. Every action that you do count towards your health.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. And when you've done all the things that you think you can do, if you've studied it and decided and been proactive about it, you do all the things you can do, and you can't do anything else. So my thought is, why would I worry then about anything I cannot control? I have no control over whatsoever.
Right.
So then it turns to me to how can I help other people? And I can do that by reaching out to a couple of people every day, which I do. And it is interesting that even then people are suspicious. I run a group called High Blood Pressure Support Group on Facebook, and I've got people on there who are highly suspicious of me giving the message that you don't have to be on high blood pressure drugs for life. Can you believe that? I mean,
it's so foreign a concept right now, because we've been ingrained for most of our life. And I just remember my mother would take me to the doctor. He would give me a pill and we would go home, and if you didn't get a pill, you didn't feel like you were validated by going to the doctors, and him seeing you. So I think that's just how I think all of us have been raised, and we're just used to, doctors know how to prescribe medications, which really in the long run, you and I both know, are not going to heal you. They may help deal with the symptoms for a little bit, but they're not going to heal you. So the body has the ability to heal.
Well, I think one of the first questions anyone should ask when they're, let's say they don't feel great, they go to the doctor, The doctor takes their blood pressure's high. The doctor suggests medication, which may well be the right thing at that moment in time. But a question from the patient should be, I believe, okay, doc, great. How long do I have to take these for? When will I be coming off these pills? And unfortunately, most of the answers I fear people are going to get are, well, no. Once you got this, you're on it forever, and that is wrong. That is not true.
100% wrong. 100% wrong. Well, I've got a good story to share with you.
Great.
I interviewed, her name is Lauries Story, and she is an RN, and she, a lot of this started with her mother, and her mother was rushed to the hospital. They, had chest pains, and they were going to take her in and do a triple bypass, like on the spot, like crap, get her in. But they started looking at her kidneys, and their kidneys were having some major issues, so they weren't able to withstand the surgery. So they sent her home, and basically her daughter said, Mom, look, you can either go plant-based or you have surgery. What do you want to do? And she's like, well, I like to eat. Let's go try the food. And so she did. So Mom reversed heart disease. She was also type 2 diabetic. She got off her CPAP machine, sleep apnea, got off of that. And just, she lost like 45 pounds. She was a very tiny, petite woman.
Fantastic.
So she lost like a third of her body weight. And so grandma did that. And then the daughter did too. She healed her thyroid, got off of, she was, had GERD. She was on quite a few medications. She's got off all of her medications. All of her things have healed. Her daughter, who was in her early 20s, had such bad acne that her face, I've never seen such bad case. She went plant-based and cleared it up, almost all of it. So the whole family went plant-based. This was like a few years ago, and I did an interview with the family. Okay, great. Well, the whole family got the virus. Okay, COVID-19. Wow. Yeah. And I did an interview with her afterwards. So it started with her dad and then progressed to the whole family. So her dad, and her mom, who was also in the house. So they had the grandparents, mom and dad, then Laurie and her husband, and then their 2 children. So, 3 generations in the same house. And everybody got it except grandma, who, and interesting, and I talked with Dr. Barnard about this, and mom was type O blood, and everybody else was type A. And so there is some information coming from China about some of the different types of groups that might have a little bit better advantage than others. So she was in the thick of it, like coughing, sneezing, everybody in the house, and she didn't get it. So interesting. But the whole family survived without having to go to the hospital. And she attributes a lot of that, and I have to agree, to being plant-based, and changing your health destiny so that your immune system is ramped up and ready to go.
Great. Yeah. Well, we never tired of seeing the results, because they're always, people always get better. It's such a great business to be in. And I've got a couple of stories. Actually, one I've just remembered is that someone called me or got in touch with me from as a result of our last interview. Okay. And took a call. I said I would, give a free consultation online. Right. And this lady took a call, and she's quite familiar with John McDougall's work, with plant-based nutrition generally. But for some reason, and this happens to people from time to time, she just lost a little bit of motivation. Yeah. Just gone off track a little bit. And really just a 15-minute phone call was all she needed. She sent me a message straight afterwards saying, I'm back on it, I'm going, thank you very much. And which was lovely, and really nice. Just a quick 15-minute call. So, and then for the first time, I run a Facebook group called High Blood Pressure Support Group, and I decided to run a 7-day challenge. Really, I'm not the most organized person, and I'm not the most technical person either. So that 7 days took about 3 days to get started. And then I asked people to post their blood pressure at roughly the same time every day, which I did myself as well, because I wanted to teach people that it's no 1 or 2 or even 3 readings which they should make decisions on. In fact, 7 days is not enough either. It should be like a month's worth of readings, and then you can start to see a pattern and to see where that's going if what you're doing is changing that pattern. Anyway, just a few people came onto that program, but we just finished it yesterday, and 20% of the people have come off their medication completely
in
during the
7
week.
days.
Within 7 days, and doing great, and their blood pressure is, pretty normal now. But there's no surprise to me, but it does seem to be a surprise even to people who are going along with it. They feel like, oh, can I really do this? Because as you explained previously, that they're, to me privately, is that they're very, we're just conditioned to believe what the doctors tell us.
Right. Absolutely.
And the doctors don't know any different apart from put us on medication.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one.
Yes.
Nice.
Very good. Very good.
Must make you feel good to help other people.
It is the best thing. It is the best feeling. Yeah.
I agree.
When people respond and say, thank you so much. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. So, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Label reading time.
Yeah, we did some label readings last time, didn't we?
We did. And really I thought, I'm still following up on this because I had a friend of mine who reacted to our last show. And she said, they're just showing, because we talked about the cream cheese and how it was like something like 11%. She's like, well, that's the correct, if you look at the calories per 2,000, based upon a 2,000 calorie diet, which is what it says. And so I said, okay, all right, I'm going to go look at the math this time. All right. So this time today, we're going to look at classic hummus. So I found, one of the brands here in the United States. I'm not going to say which, but most of the hummuses, although a very good plant-based, resource. I mean, I love hummus. I mean, I could like just swim in hummus, like it's delicious. It's absolutely wonderful. However, majority of the hummuses have oil in them as one of the main ingredients. So this hummus, and I'll post the nutrition facts, this hummus comes in a little container. So it's a little snack container. So you could buy these individuals. So you can just, pop it open and then have that for your, celery or carrots or whatever veggies you're gonna dip. I particularly like sweet peppers in hummus. Yum. So this one's got in this little container, it's what they call it a one snacker cup. So that's it. You just eat this whole thing. And in this little container is 120 calories. Okay. So they've eliminated, well, that's a lot of calories, but
there's a lot of calories, yeah.
So they've eliminated on this label they used to have in the United States, it was called, calories from fat. So they've gotten rid of that, which I am sad to see go, but okay, whatever. So we just have to do one more step in the math to figure out the calories from fat. So if you look at this label, it's 7 grams of fat. Okay. And in this, you have to multiply 7 times 9 because it's 9 calories per gram to convert it to calories from fat. So you just multiply whatever the number of grams is by 9. So that's 63 in my book. Okay. Last time I checked in the math. So, okay, 63 calories from fat, and it's 120 calories total. So that's 53% fat in my book. Okay. Now, on this label, it says the total fat is 9%. Okay. And it says based upon percent daily value. So my question is, if you take 9% of 2,000 calories, that's 180 calories. Where is this math coming from? Where is this 9% coming from? Because I don't see it. If you take 120 calories of a 2,000 calorie diet, that's 6% right there. And if you take 63 calories, that's only 3%. So where is this not?
It's pretty straightforward to me. It's like you said, it's 7 grams times 9, 63. That's 61.5% fat in that in that product.
It's crazy. So you have to go and look. Okay, first of all, you look at the label.
51.5. Yeah.
And you see the ingredients below. Okay, we're dealing with chickpeas. Okay, fine. Water. Okay, fine. Tahini. Now that's ground sesame. Now that is going to be some fat in there without question. But the next ingredient is oil. And then we have garlic, salt, citric acid, and potassium sorbate for your added pleasure dining. So, love potassium sorbate. Yeah. Anyway, so you've got all of these things in here. The biggest thing is the oil. That's number one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So half of it is going to be fat, number two. And number three, I go to look at the nutrition facts. And if you look at, you want to have a 1-to-1 ratio of calories to sodium.
Mm-hmm.
So calories is 120 in this portion, and the sodium is 240. So that is more than double, okay, the amount of salt that you're supposed to be consuming, in one sitting.
Yeah.
So, or whatever you're eating. So that's twice the amount. So I would not buy this. I mean, there are some brands out there, and one here across the pond is called Roots. Now, this company they've got a whole line, and the majority of the whole line contains oil, except the one in the blue container that says oil free. So I like that one. So again, it has the tahini in it, but for something that I could buy store bought, it's not too bad. But hummus is so easy to make. It's ridiculously easy to make. I mean, if you have a Cuisinart or a Vitamix, you can throw chickpeas in there, add some lemon juice, add some garlic, add whatever seasonings you love, and it'll take it to the new level, and just let it go a long time because, I like to have it creamy. I don't know about you.
All right. Okay. Well, that's a good tip for me. No.
All right.
Okay. So I got some Norwegian products here, and I'll send you a couple of other photographs actually of the actual food when it was finished.
Okay.
Because I learned this stuff from Jeff Novick many years ago, mentioned that last time as well. So I just took a few photographs of a couple of days ago when I was actually making a dish, and I made a lot of it, 2 days, and even froze some of it. Because that's means I spend less time in the kitchen, which is great. So we've got some whole wheat, whole grain rice here on the white label, and it's just so easy to look at that very quickly and say this is fine.
So tell me what as you looking at it, because that's like Greek to me.
Okay, let me get this up on here. So my rice, full corn rice. Okay, it's pretty much the same actually. So at the top we got naring, sinhold. That's nutrition or the calories. So that's 100 grams per 100 grams. So it's just the same. And then you've got 346 energy, 346 calories.
Right.
And fat. That's not so difficult. Fett is the Norwegian word for that. And then you can miss out all the different types of fat. You got carbohydrate underneath, and then you got some fiber, and then protein, and then the bottom one, the only one we're interested in, is the salt.
Right.
So you got the fat and the salt, which are the two, and the calories per 100 grams. That's the only things that I need to look at. And with the fat, 2.4 grams times 9, what's that, about 20 odd, something like that. And calories 346. So it's well below 20% fat, and that's my guideline. Anything below that, I think is okay. It's okay on the fat level. And then salt, like you say, you want 1 milligram per calorie. Yeah. So you got less than 0.01 grams, which is less than 100 grams, and we got 346 calories. So salt's fine there as well. Yeah.
Perfect.
And then you move over, so which you would expect with whole grain rice. Yeah. And then you move over to, and there's a good reason for me including the rice in there, because I'm going to talk about my food overall after going through this, which is not the best. Okay, but I'm okay to include it because the rice is lower, the potatoes are lower, and they all form part of my meal. So again, we got energy up here, 119 calories, fat at 2 grams. So fat, that's 19. Let's call it So that's less than 10%. So fat is fine on that. And then right down the bottom again, we've got salt, 0.5 grams. Okay. Well, that's
so this is for chickpeas and tomatoes.
This is just the chickpeas here.
Oh, just the chickpeas can.
Chickpeas can, yeah.
Okay.
So we got 500 grams, but 119 calories. So like 5 times or 4.5 times the amount of salt. But 2 things I do. Number 1 is, as I said earlier, that just forms part of my whole meal.
Right.
So with it being so low in the rice, so low in the potatoes,
mm-hmm.
it's fine if this is a little over the top. But I also wash the chickpeas as well.
Okay.
So that'll take off quite a bit of that salt, I believe. Okay.
Okay.
And then same again with.
Do they have in Norway salt-free cans?
Maybe, but we don't have a great deal of choice. We've got basically one supermarket, which is close to here. Uh-huh. And you can imagine in the winter, it's not that easy to get there and back.
You get your skis out and put a backpack on.
Well, if I need to go into Centrum, into the center of town, and I can go to I've got a number of choices of store in there, then maybe I search around, I can find somewhere. But that's not the issue. The issue is actually physically getting there from certain parts of the year.
Right.
And then we got the last one is the tomato. I don't know if we got that up on. No, we haven't got that up on there. Energy there is 19 calories, and the fat is 0, and the salt is 0.08 grams. So that's going to be 80
milligrams.
80 milligrams with 19 calories. So about 4 times as much, but of a very small amount of calories. Right. Yeah. Right. So that's why I'm not really bothered too much. Once I rinse out the chickpeas, it's fine, because the rest of the food is much lower, and that's the way I work it. So perhaps it wouldn't be great for you because of, you have a salt intolerance, and you'd have to be a lot more careful of something like the chickpeas. But for me, it works, and I'm not walking in all that snow into 6 kilometers into Centrum.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, because we got to have a life as well. People. It is a really key point there that we do have to live our lives. Yes, our good health is worth working for, and it should be. We should pay attention to that. But there is a point where we can go too far as well. Yeah, and that's my point. So that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to share an article with you that I found that I don't know how this came across my desk or whatever.
Okay.
Somebody, I don't remember. And it's called How Facial Botox Changes Your Brain Literally. And this was in Psychology Today. It's on their website. I'll post the link. It's an incredibly long link. So I'm not quite sure how you would search that, but here's the link. So anyway, but the Botox injections into your forehead, because it's supposed to smooth out your face so that you look ageless, kind of thing. Yeah, you look lovely, darling. So, these injections literally rearrange your brain's sensory map of the hands when you're injecting it into your forehead and your face. So the ongoing question is whether repeated treatments over a period of time is going to result in permanent changes to the brain. So there's this limited paralysis that's caused by the Botox deprives the brain sensory input normally generated by the forehead and facial movements. So it even more unexpected is that both hands suffer a loss of cortical brain activity following this, these long, this relatively small loss of facial movements. So the changes in the brains are literally remapping, and they're are dose dependent. So the more you use, the bigger the effect this is. So, and there's some other studies that talked about widespread effects of this and unintended consequences within the nervous system. And I'm like, are you kidding me? First of all, who would I just can't even imagine injecting Botox into my system. I mean,
I was going to say that.
I'm as vain as the next woman, but I draw the line at injecting stuff into me, but your mileage may vary.
Yeah, well, there's people making a lot of money from it, and again, the same as the pill industry, the medical industry, pharmaceutical industry. This is part of it, and they are fantastic marketeers, aren't they? They know what we like, they know how to set it up so that we really want it, and amazing the number of people who had Botox. Yeah, I agree. Well, I've been not doing so much reading, but really getting into some of the videos and the TEDx talks.
Yeah.
I know you've done an interview recently with Neil Barnard, and I watched a TEDx talk of his as well recently.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Excellent stuff. But I absolutely love a talk done by Dr. Michael Clapper in front of a group of young medical students, doctors. And he is now, that's what he's doing with his life now, is going out and talking to people who are going to be the doctors of the future. So at least they know about the plant-based diet. And he says they have been influenced already by Game Changers, by the different What the Health and different movies which they've seen. And he wants to give them the stuff that they really need. So he's devoted himself to doing that, and is a great, really in-depth lecture of him talking to these medical students on YouTube. Fabulous stuff.
All right, I will post the link below.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Favorite recipe? Ooh, let's talk food. I love food. I think my husband, and I make this for my husband, I'll say to him on Sunday, like today, I'll usually am in the kitchen batch cooking for the following week. And I'll say to my husband, what do you want for lunch, for this week? He's like, Mexican lasagna. Okay, we're on week 17. I can make other things, And he's like, no, but I like that. My husband is pretty straightforward. If he finds something he likes.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Men, you guys are pretty basic algorithm. So he's like, yep, I got it figured out. Lunch, good. Just make that. Okay. So Mexican lasagna is ridiculously easy to make. I just get some jarred salsa. And here we have a company called Trader Joe's, and they have a salt-free salsa, which is great, and it's oil-free as well. So I just put that on the bottom. I put some corn tortillas on above that.
Yeah.
And then I will add I take beans and I'll put them in the Cuisinart and, spin them down so that they're almost like refried beans, that creamy texture. And sometimes I'll add some hummus into that, some salsa. I might add some more salsa in there just to give it a little bit of kick.
Yeah.
And to give it some flavor. And then I'll make that layer. And then I'll put another layer of corn tortillas. And then I'll add, it's called it's a tomato-less salsa.
You're making me hungry already, Jeanne.
They have a tomato-less salsa at Trader Joe's, and I just buy the jar of that, and I'll pour that and make that a layer, and then I'll put another layer of corn tortillas, and then some more salsa. So it is absolutely fabulous, and I'll bake it in the oven at like 350, like a medium oven. I know that's Fahrenheit 350, a medium oven across the pond for about 30 minutes. Because everything's pretty much already cooked. The beans are already cooked.
Yeah.
So, it's just to heat it up and meld everything together. And then I'll let it set out and cool completely and then cut it up into 6 portions.
Oh, that would be the hard bit for me, waiting for it to cool.
Well, that's his lunch for the week. It's not, we're going to have that right away. So I'll put it into little glass jars. And then at work, it's called a mini Hot Logic. And it's just a warming tray. It almost looks like a lunchbox. And you just put your food inside, zip it up, and plug it in. That's how difficult it is. My kind of technology. You plug it in, on, unplug it, off. That's it. So he has one of those at work. And then when he gets to work, he puts his food in there. And by lunchtime, it's nice and hot. It also has a car adapter that you can use while traveling. So when we're in the car, we'll plug the food in. And so when we stop for lunch, we'll have a hot meal. Because I like a hot meal. And there's no place I can eat on the road. Absolutely none. Zero. So we have to bring our own food with us when we go.
Yeah. Yep.
So
get that.
How about you?
Well, I've been experimenting recently with something that I have a lot, almost every day, but just in a different form. and I've been getting a jar. I think you told me about this actually. Getting a jar and putting different layers. Did I see you doing that with different layers of stuff?
Well, the overnight oatmeal, is that
The
what you're talking about?
overnight, yeah. And it's fruit havregryn, fruit porridge.
What? What?
Havregryn in Norwegian, fruit porridge in
Porridge? You
British,
call it
yeah.
porridge? Did we
And
just like step into Goldilocks and the Three Bears? I mean, like seriously? You do know that story, right? Across the pond.
yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay.
And
Porridge, you call it
so
porridge. Okay.
with banana, with either strawberries or blueberries or raspberries and raisins, I put them in water the night before so they plump up. And then put some fiber powder in and a bit of soya milk. And I put this in, I've started putting it in old jam jars and doing layers and putting the milk in and then leaving it in the fridge overnight. So nice the next day. So
you put fiber powder?
Yeah, I put fiber powder in as well. Yeah, because
why?
Because even with my diet, I still think it's good for me to have extra fiber powder every day. If you look at the amount that we're taking in, I mean, most people don't even get a quarter of the way there, and it causes all sorts of issues. So be on the safe side. That's one thing I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things we do is in my group, we do a fiber challenge. And so I have it set up so that people can, record what they're eating, and then it gives you an equivalent of how much fiber. So, it's a good way for you to understand how much fiber and how much more you need, because it's so important for your gut biome.
Yeah.
Really. It's what feeds the gut biome in your body.
Well, my wife on about it was not on didn't even know what a vegan was 6 years ago when we met. Father is a fisherman, been a fisherman all his life. So when I came to live in Norway, the freezer was half full of king crab because that's what he fished. And then 6 months later, it was still half full because I wouldn't cook it, and I was the one who does the cooking. But she started to change, and she's full on. She's doing absolutely great because I didn't pressure her at all. But one of the things that she had a problem with was she wasn't taking enough fiber in. So I put it on my food so that she would see it. And then she didn't like to put it on her food, even though it doesn't taste. It looks like it will be gritty, but it's not. But she just got that impression. So she actually puts it in, a water bottle like this every day. And it just dissolves in the water, and she drinks the fiber every day.
All right.
So there you go. Yeah.
Well, Gareth, porridge. Okay.
Porridge. Yeah. So but when you say porridge, it doesn't sound as sexy as, fruit porridge with blueberries and strawberries and raspberries and
now there you
soya milk on. And when you put it all in a jar and it's all layered and you leave it in the fridge, I can't wait to wake up in the morning and get in there.
Now, do you add any cinnamon to that?
Oh, yes. Well, actually, I don't add cinnamon to the cold one, but I do add cinnamon when I make that hot. Yes.
Cinnamon and nutmeg is another good choice, too.
Okay.
So, and cinnamon helps with people with with diabetes. So it helps with the blood sugar, stabilize it. So that's a good choice. So the nutmeg is also a good flavor enhancer. So.
Okay. I'll try it.
All right. Well, Gareth, always another great show with you.
Been a lot of fun tonight. Yes.
It has. We talk about a lot of things. So.
Well, there's going to be plenty to talk about next time, because we'll be moved on with coronavirus in some way, in some form, and who knows what that'll bring.
We'll always find things to talk about, you and I.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
Right. We'll see you on the next show.
See you next time. Okay, bye, Jeanne.